Yes, it is.
Yep, that means we're ready.
Recording in progress. Okay. Well, good morning to all of you, or wherever you may be. It's good morning to me. Okay, it's a little chilly up here where I'm at in Yucca Valley. Let's see. My thermometer says indoors for me, it's 40 degrees. That's why I have the fireplace going and warm it all up. I'm glad to see all of you today for our final class, Seller's Net Sheet, December. And I hope everybody had the opportunity to download everything. All right. I believe I sent out my bio. And the only reason I sent out the bio is so that you could better understand who I am, or when you have an opportunity to look at it on your own. I always say in my classes, I'm just like you. I'm a realtor, been in the business since 1989, and I enjoy this profession. And I've utilized the Seller's Net Sheet for, I'm going to say, at least 32 to 33 years of my profession. And I like utilizing the Seller's Net Sheet. When I started off in this industry, they would ask me, Mr. Martinez, what does it cost to sell a home? And we would pull out our calculators and let me get mine out. So we should all have a calculator and a pen with us today. And I put out the calculator and say at that time, not a calculator on my phone in those days, it was a plastic calculator. And we would say to them, it's about 8.5% of sales price. And they'd say 8.5%, yes. 3.5% for list, 3% for listing, 3% on the selling side, the listing side, and 2.5% towards escrow, title, and other fees. And sometimes we use the terminology garbage fees. So that's the way it's been. You know, it was, and for some it's still. I'm not sure how all realtors do it, but I started utilizing a Seller's Net Sheet. Prior to that, I'd get a HUD-1. So one, I want to thank you for joining the class. Hopefully you're taking listings, because the listing agents are definitely the kings and the queens of this industry. For the time I've been in the business, that's been the truth. It continues to be the truth. And one of the things I think on taking a listing, it's not a requirement, but I think one day it may be a requirement, is having a Seller's Net Sheet. I'll say to you, if you were selling your house, wouldn't you want to know what it would cost to sell it? I always ask that question. Do you want to know what it costs to sell your home? And I think the answer would be yes. So having said that, I utilize the Seller's Net Sheet. Prior to that, I used a HUD-1. So if you're not using anything, I'm glad you're here so you can find out what we can utilize. If you're using a HUD-1, that's a good tool as well. A HUD-1 is when you go to escrow and you tell escrow, I'm going to sell a home at a certain price, and they create a estimated net sheet for you, HUD-1. So I used to utilize that as well. And I could manipulate the, by using my Seller's Net Sheet and putting in the same numbers into, like, say, the MLS. We have our CR MLS has their information there where you can put a net sheet. So you can create it. You can manipulate different net sheets once you know how to create your own. You should have in your packet the Seller's Net Sheet formula, which I think is 2 pages. All right. You should have 1 page that is a clear Seller's Net Sheet. And when I say the clear Seller's Net Sheet, I simply mean that it only has certain numbers. It doesn't have where it says sellers, it has nothing. It just one of my net sheets so that you can replicate it, duplicate it, do whatever you want to with it, and create your own Seller's Net Sheet if you decide to utilize them. Okay. So there's mine. It has encumbrances, which means debt. You see it's very clear. It says net sheet number 1, because all of my net sheets when I start off are number 1. When I meet a client, number 1. I can have net sheet 1, net sheet 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I have 7 offers, until I have the one that I call open escrow, the final one, the one I opened escrow with. That's the one that really means the most to me, but I keep them all there. I took it listed at this price when I took it, number one. And when we received an offer, here's the final net sheet. So you have a clear one, and on it, you'll see sub escrow $75, recording 125, drawing 125, reconveyance 125, and preps and docs 200 already in the seller's net sheet. And the reason for that is very simple. Those fees do not change dramatically. They could be $10 less, a few dollars more, but they're not going to change. They're not going to be a factor that changes the seller's net sheet. Okay. And then in close, we have two packages. You have one entitled New Listing Number One, and on it, it'll say the Hills, owners, sellers, and it'll say interest, 2,200 on the top, where it says sellers, HOA 150, okay? And all of us have that together. I put that in everybody's seller's net sheet, the first top one. You see the date, today's date, it says new listing, today is the new listing. And we're all gonna list this property at 597,000 all together. That way we're all on the same page. How much are we gonna list it for? 597. Oh, this coffee is good. All right. I put in encumbrances for all of us, the same debt. First trust deed, 198,000. So when you go to your client, you'll say to them, what debt do you have? And they'll say to you, this is the debt we have. In this case, you could see on their encumbrances, and you can put next to encumbrances, what is debt? All debt. I'll give you some examples. First trust deed, equity line of credit, or a HELOC loan. Equity line of credit, HELOC, home equity line of credit, HELOC. Some people say, I have a equity line of credit of 100,000, equity line of credit of 50,000. Or you may have an equity line of credit 150, and you've used 100,000 of that. So you have a debt of 100,000 from that. There could be taxes. I have taxes in the rear. Some of my clients say, Mr. Martinez, I did not pay taxes for the last 2 years. Okay, taxes. I'm not sure what this is. I didn't put that up.
Somebody's sharing their screen.
Huh.
I'm gonna take it off.
Okay. I'm not sure where that came, but an extension of lease is probably going to be necessary in the world we live in today. Extension of lease. I'm viewing a Hank.
There we go.
Hank, oh, Hank, you took over. All right, we're back. Okay. So anyhow, all the debt in what other debt? I was discussing the debt, taxes, child support. You may have child support, spousal support. Spousal support is debt too. Okay. So once again, all debt. Okay. Oh, there's a program, the HERO program, and there may be other programs where you go into a client and there's two types of leases. I'll give you an example. Solar. So you have two different kinds of solar leasing. One like sort of like that Elon Musk used to have, that solar where you can get it today. You take over the payment, like $75, $85, $95 a month, and you take over the payment of the solar panels. That's a lease. And then there's another one, they have panels, but they say, oh, you have to pay for those panels when you sell your home. That's a debt, okay? And HERO program is one of those. They'll put air conditioning, windows, certain things in your property, but when you sell your property, you must pay off that debt, okay? So that's a debt too. So you need to ask, what do we have to pay off? All debts. Okay. And in this case, we all have together in our instructions, 248,000 debt. So that when we do this class together, we all have the same debt, 248,000. We're gonna list it at 597. So when I list the home at 597, one of the things that I say to my clients, we can list it for 597, but Laura, really, what would you take? And if Laura would have said to me something like this, Jose, I'll take 590, then I would put projected sales price to be 590. Why? Because Laura said she'll take 590. But Laura didn't say that to us. Laura said, hey, Jose, you said you could list it for 597. I'd like to get 597. And I said, okay, we'll try for 597 in today's market. If we get an offer and we get it relatively soon, we can substantiate that offer. And she says, yeah, let's try for the 597. So in our paperwork, you see listed at 597, projected sales price of 597. All right. Now, when I sit down with my clients, I go over the escrow, I go over everything. And when I go over it, I go over the commission and so forth. And I also talk about the fees. And I let my clients know that when we're talking about fees, I don't care what we call the fees, buyer's fees, conventional fees, FHA fees, VA fees. Fees are fees are fees. Money's coming out of your pocket, Mrs. Seller, Mr. Owner. So fees to me are all fees. And I let them know in today's market, because we're in a different market than we were just a year ago, 2 years ago. In today's market, buyers may be requiring certain items. They may ask for pests, they may ask for home protection, and they may ask for a closing cost. So I let them know, how much could it be? I could say anywhere from a few $100s to 1% to 3%. Until we get an offer, I won't know. So that's one thing that I let them know, but I don't worry about when I'm taking what? The listing, because I want my clients to see more money. You want your clients to see more money when they're taking the listing. Why tell them, oh, we're going to pay 3% maybe to a buyer and subtract it now? Wait until you have the offer, then you could discuss that. But discuss that these things are some of the things that are going on in today's market. Okay. Now, if in your market, the values are just still going high, 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 and zooming up, then you could say to them, nope, we're going to ask 597. Don't be surprised if we don't get 620. Okay. But where I'm at right now, and in this scenario where this property is at, I can assure you they're not going up, but they're going lower. Okay. I can assure you that. They were in this, there's still people in the 620s in the area when they've dropped from 620 below, but that's another story. All right, so anyhow, we have on our first page 597. You can see on the first page, it has the amount that it's going to be. We're listing it for 597, and we can see that on page 2 of the same one, I put the cost. We're selling it at 597. Here's the cost at 597 for you, already written out, so that if you don't get something when we're doing this class, you can look at the paperwork. It's all there for you. Okay, so I don't want you to say, oh my God, I forgot something. But if we're in the class and you feel like you need to ask the question, please let Laura know, because I want to answer your questions. All right, so get your calculators out. Oh, and then you have the seller's net sheet, the 2 pages, and we're going to go through all of that as we go through this program. All right. So if you look at the seller's net sheet formula, it says the first thing we all need to do is find out what the projected gross equity is going to be. Okay, so I already put 2 of the numbers there: projected selling price, projected list price. If we know what we're going to sell it for, we know what we're going to start with. I'm thinking I'm gonna sell it at $597. And we all know how much we owe. We owe $248,000. So the seller's net sheet says sales price $597 minus debt of $248 gives me projected gross equity. So let me pull out my calculator, and I suggest that you get your calculators out as well. Okay, that's the only way to learn. I'm gonna get mine out. So I'm selling it for $597,000 minus debt of $248,000 equals $349,000. So my projected gross equity is $349,000. I'm using a calculator, just like I hope you are. 349. So now I know my projected gross equity. Okay. And when you hear the word gross, you always know, here's what I know. I'm not an accountant, but my wife, she does a lot of things for bookkeeping. And she says, when you hear gross, you still need to subtract, because your client is always looking for net. What am I going to net? So what do we still have to subtract? Now we have to subtract those items on the left, the estimated costs. And remember what I said, we spoke of them when I became a realtor? Yes, there are title, escrow, and garbage fees or other fees. So when we finish this class, you'll know what those other fees are. All of them. They won't be garbage fees. They'll be costs, estimated costs. So let's take a look. Our seller's net sheet says, and we can get the seller's net sheet out, or let me get mine out. It says, seller's net sheet says escrow fees are $2 per thousand plus $250. I'm sorry, $2 per thousand plus a setup fee of $250. So I want to tell you what a setup fee is. In this case, we're selling it for $597,000. Let's all put out the calculator again. Once again, gotta set mine up again. And here's my calculator. We're selling it for $597,000 times 0.2% times 0.2% equals 1,194. Now that's the escrow fees, 1,194 plus what? Plus $250 for setup fee for a total of $1,444. So our escrow fees are going to be $1,444. Put that in your sheet too. Follow me as we do it. We said 597 times 0.2% gave us the escrow fee plus 250 for setup for a total of 1,444. 1,444. And what that means is escrow is charging you, hey, we're charging you, Andres, we're charging you, Bertha, and you, Francisco, all of you, this amount of money for the escrow amount for the 597. Plus we have to change it, set it up in your client's name, because escrow is not in Jose's name. It's not in Francisco's name. It's not in Laura's name. It's not in all of our names. They have to go in there and set it up and put it in. So you'd be able to explain it. One of the things about my seller's net sheet, it's a great script. So you should learn it, because you'll be able to say to your clients, what are escrow fees? Escrow fees are $2 per thousand plus a setup fee of $250. Let me get my calculator out. 597 times 0.2% plus 250 for a total of 1,444. And Lori, that's what you'll be paying. You pay this amount for escrow and the rest to set it up in your name. Oh, wow, thank you. You know, the other agent that came in, he said, I had to pay 8.5%, 3% listing agent, 3% selling agent, and garbage fees. You see how I'm not explaining as much the script. Oh, it's wonderful. Let's go to number 3, number 3, sub escrow. In your seller's net sheet, it says to you, sub escrow $75. This is a fee that the title company will charge. It will be split between the buyer and the seller, normally between $125 and I'm going to say $150. Okay, so that's why I have it at $75 towards seller, $75 towards buyer. And you can tell your seller that this is something that both you and the buyer will be paying, sub escrow fee. It is not an escrow fee, but a fee that is charged by the title company. Wow, I didn't know that. Okay. There you go. Follow the script. I practice. I get in front of the camera, get in front of the mirror, practice the script, okay? So that you can just, what is it for? Boom, boom. See, otherwise I got to go like this while I'm teaching you. Okay. Learn the script. At the end, I'll give you the story of the 3 realtors at the beach. Okay, next one. Number 4, it's there already, 125. Okay, recording fee, $125. These fees could be used for recording of reconveyances or attorney documents. It could be utilized for the recording or of reconveyances or attorney documents. Recording fee. Because there's going to be 2 segments in the recording. You're going to say, didn't I pay that fee? Yes, you're paying that to reconvey or attorney documents. This is to, as we go down the list. Next one, $125. Drawing deed. What is it for? Fees to draw up the grant deed. Once again, the grant deed, when you sell it, they got to draw it up. Okay. It's not there ready for you already. Oh, there's a grant deed already for me. I bought the property. They bought the property. Shouldn't there be a grant deed? No, we got to draw it up. Now we know who the parties are. All right. Drawing up the grant deed. So let's go to the next one. Title insurance. All right. I sent everybody a rate chart. Did everybody get it? Oh, you know what? Yes, I sent everybody a rate chart. Okay. Now take a look. Take it to, it's a 1-sheet rate chart. Okay. Now take a look. If you look for 595,000 to 600, I think 600,000, you'll see our rate. And the rate chart says that for this, our title is going to be $1,705. $1,705 at 597. Title insurance says this is what it's going to be. Now, if you don't have a rate chart, you should ask your title companies, can they provide you with a rate chart? Okay. You should have at least 2 or 3, one in your pocket, one in your briefcase, one in your car, one in your office. If somebody comes, hey, opportunity, can you give me a seller? Can you tell me how much it costs to sell my home? You could bet Jose will. Okay. When opportunity knocks, can you tell me what I can make and what it would take to sell my home? You know, like the 3 guys in the sand. One of you going to say, no, I can't. The other one's going to say, wait a minute, I can, but let me call up escrow and get a HUD-1 for you. And then Jose's going to say, wait, you know what? Come on. I got a pen. I got my calculator. I got a piece of paper, and the information is right here. How much you think it's worth? We'll base it on that. I love it when you have tools. It's great. All right, let's keep going to the next one. So now we know that the title based on the rate chart says $1,705. Okay. Transfer tax. Let's look at our seller's net sheet. And the seller's net sheet says on transfer tax in Riverside and San Bernardino, The rate that we use when we're using a seller's net sheet is $1.10 per thousand. But in Orange County and in LA County, I utilize $2.20 per thousand. This property is in Riverside County, so it's $1.10 per thousand. So once again, pull out your calculator. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to learn the formula, because once you know the formula, it's real simple. All I'm saying to you, if I threw a number at you like this, I'm selling the home for $597,521.32. You wouldn't be able to give me the number right away. But if I said we're selling it for 597,000, you're going to be able to say 597. We're selling for 900,000, 900. Okay. So learn the formula in case you ever get some crazy number. You can always say, hey, I know the formula. So let's go. The formula says transfer tax is, and in this case, it's going to be $1.10. So let me get my calculator. You guys get your calculator. Okay. We'll do it together the first time. All right, here we go. We're selling it for 597,000, right? That's right. And we say divided, the formula says divided by 1,000 equals 597. Okay. And like I said to you earlier, you'll all say to me, well, that's easy, Jose. That's easy. But if it was 597, 231 and 72 cents, it would not be easy. But if you can say divided by 1,000 times whatever the tax amount, the number will be right. So now we know 597 times what? 1.1, not percent, equals $656.70. $656.70. That it is. Put it in there. $656.70. Everybody with me? All right. Next one. We're looking at the net sheet and it says prepayment penalty. Real simple. Prepayment penalty. Ask the sellers. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, do you have a prepayment penalty? Or Mr. Owners, do you have prepayment penalties? No, we don't. No, we don't. Or yes, we do. How much is that? And then you put, if they tell you it's an amount, you put that amount into the net sheet. Okay. If they say, no, we have zero, you put zero. If they say, I don't know, I put the word CK, check. And I would say to Laura, Laura, can you check with your lender on Monday and get back to me and tell me if we have a prepayment penalty, yes or no? And if we do have one, what the amount would be. Then I can finish the seller's net sheet for her. Okay. But she said to us today, no, I have no prepayment penalty. So let's put zero in there. Everybody got that? All right. The next one on our list is reconveyance. Reconveyance. Now remember, the first one said recording, and the recording could be used to take care of reconveyance and attorney fees. Remember that? Okay. So now it says reconveyance, and look what it says. Reconveyance number 9, $125. The reconveyance for the deeds of trust for the first, second, third, and the clear title. Okay. Boom. So one draws up probably the documents, could be for the fees of recording or reconveyance, and the other one says for short, where the deed of trust, first, seconds, or thirds to be delivered in clear title. $125. Okay. Interest. Ask the seller. Ask the seller. When you're taking a listing, you should be asking the seller, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what is your monthly payment? And in this case, they told all of us, it's up there on the top, $2,200 a month. $2,200 a month. So our interest payment is $2,200 a month. and you ask them, do you have an HOA or any other fees monthly? And they said, yes, we have HOA of $150. So HOA plus monthly fees of 2,200 for a total of 2,350. So under interest, put 2,350. Let's put 2,350. All right. Get my pen. All right. So now we know the interest is 2,350. Preps and docs, it's already there for you. $200. It doesn't change. So you have it already in your net sheet, and you could look down there under 11 preps and docs, and it's there to prepare the docs. Probably to put them in your name. Okay. Put them in, or the next person's name. The next person's name. So there you go. Preparing of docs. Docs and reconveyance of docs and reconveyance of grant deeds, reconveyance of everything is expensive. So there it is, $200. Appraisal, number 12 on our list. In this case, 0. When you're taking a listing, you don't have to pay for the appraisal. The owners don't have to pay for the appraisal. It's 0. Okay. So in this scenario, it is 0. But I give in my classes that it's not always 100%. We are getting in a market where people are less hesitant to make an offer. And in some places, let's say that values may be decreasing. And you might find somebody that says, hey, Mr. Martinez, I'm willing to give you $597,000, but I'm worried about the appraisal. And I represent the listing. So I will say to Francisco, will Francisco make an offer and have the sellers pay for the appraisal? Okay. And what I am doing is, if I am confident of the value, I have a comp right there that just closed last week for 604 and another one at 598. And Francisco wants to make an offer and can close in 30 to 45 days. I have the comp. So I'm going to encourage Francisco to make an offer and say to ask sellers to be responsible for appraisal. Why? Because I want to hook Francisco, okay, into going into escrow. Once I get into escrow, it's up to Jose to be able to prove that the value is there. But if I see the value there right now, and he's making me an offer, boom, and I know I can prove that value, I'm going to, let's get into it. Let's do it. And I will convince my sellers to get involved. Okay. Let's hook Francisco first. Let's get into that. Let me prove it. Let me do my job. So that's what I would do. So 0 on appraisal 99% of the time, but the market is changing. And when I train, I always tell realtors, you know, you need to know where the market is, the wind is blowing, where the market is changing. The one constant is change. The one constant is change. All right, so let's keep going. Appraisal in this case is 0, okay? Because we're taking the listing and we're saying to the owners, we're not going to pay for the appraisal. It's going to be 0. Okay, good. Okay. FHA, VA costs, pest inspection. Well, let's get the pest inspection. It's going to be 0 right now, Mr. Seller. We're not going to pay for any inspection, but the buyers may require an inspection in today's market, but we're going to put it 0. And once again, let's wait until we have an offer and then determine what we're going to do. Okay. All right. 0. FHA, VA costs, 0. Same thing. They can ask between a little bit of money to 3%, and some people will go beyond that. But you don't have to take an offer. That's just an offer. We can always counter or not accept it. 0 right now. Home warranty. We asked Laura. Laura says, do I have to give a home warranty? And I said, no. But, you know, sometimes it encourages buyers. And she goes, well, if the buyer wants it, let them ask for it. And we can always give it to them. Right, Jose? And I go, yep. And then she says, okay, 0. And I said, 0 it is. So we give it 0. So you don't have to buy it right now. Okay. Now, here's one thing I always say. You can offer, I tell my clients, you can offer the sun, the planets, and the stars, but you don't have to give anything, because if they don't give you what you want, you can take away the sun, the planets, and the stars. Okay. So I can offer a home protection, and they give me an offer of not $597. Francisco gives me an offer of $591. Well, no home protection for you. Okay. I have to take that off the plate maybe and say in the counter, no, this will accept this, but no home protection, no this, no that. We're negotiating. So it's always, everything is up in the air, change. Home warranty, brokerage. We got into this brokerage and our client said, I like the way you guys did everything. And here's one of the things, write this down. When you take a listing, ask the question. Ask the question. And what is the question? What do you plan on doing, Mr. and Mrs. Owner, or owners, or Mrs. Seller, or Mr. Seller? What do you plan on doing when we sell your home? Well, if we can get this home sold, I'd like to move into a condo. This home's 3,000 square foot. I don't need 3,000. We bought it when we had children. We have a pool in the back. We don't use it anymore. We'd like to get it sold and move on and buy something, maybe a condo in the area with about, I'd say anywhere at the low end, about 1,300. We'd like more closer to 17 to 18 in the area, townhome, or even a smaller home. If I can find you that home, would you allow me to help you do that? Yes. Now I'm telling all of you to ask the question. Why? So that you can think when you're taking a listing, okay, they plan on doing this, this, and that. How can I help them do this, this, and that? And it's not just one transaction. I'm going to be able to do maybe 2 or 3 transactions. So in this case, they said to us, I've spoken to about 2 or 3 agents, and I really like you. They like all of you. They said, Bertha, I like you. Andres, I like you. And they liked all of you. Okay. But I'm only going to pay 5%. I know you told them at our office we do it for 6, but they said, I'll offer you 5 and I'll allow you to be my agent and represent me on the next offer. And I know all of you are intelligent agents and can add up money. You can say 2.5 plus maybe 2.5, 2 or 3 on the other end equals more money. Yes, I think I can help you. So here we go. Let's pull out the calculators. I'm going to pull out mine. Pull out yours so we can see how much money we're going to get. Okay, we're selling it for $597,000 times 5% equals $29,850. So our commission is going to be $29,850. Let's set it in our next sheet. All right. Buyer's fees, 0. Like I told you, it's like anything else. VA fees, buyer's fees, title, FHA fees, they're all the same to me. I want money. So it's 0 when I'm taking the listing. Miscellaneous fee, I have $1,000. And if you look at the seller's net sheet, it says under miscellaneous, under miscellaneous, it'll say to you, miscellaneous fee is $500 for a home of $1 to about $500K, from about, I'm going to say now from $500K, 501 on up to $1 million. I put $1,000 now. So I have $1,000 there for you. And what is it there for? For miscellaneous items to be rectified. So if you have a listing at $597 and they come in and let's say they said, can you give me a home protection? That would cover the home protection. Can you give me this? The $1,000 may cover whatever they're going to be asking. It may not cover everything in today's market, but it helps cover some items that are going to be coming up. And once again, if you don't ask for it now, you are obligated to ask for anything that's requested. You need to ask your buyers, your sellers, anyhow. You got to go to the owners and the sellers anyhow. If a buyer says, I want this, and that, you got to go to them and say they'd like home protection, they'd like the pest to be paid, they'd like this to be done, and like this is their offer. So when I have miscellaneous in my listing, at least have $1,000 there to cover something. Okay. And in the old days, a year ago, it covered everything because buyers weren't asking for what? Nothing. Okay. So I'd always give the sellers back their money. So miscellaneous, $1,000. It's already put in your miscellaneous $1,000. Now, non-owner occupied. NOO, non-owner occupied. Your seller's net sheet says non-owner occupied means that. It means somebody that doesn't live there. Okay, non-owner occupied. Number 20, I'll go back to private transfer. Number 20, non-owner occupied. You go to a client and they go, I've been leasing this home since I bought it. They're non-owner occupied. Okay, so it's real simple. I'm not there, non-owner occupied. There you go. So if they're not living in the property, non-owner occupied, and that would be about 3.33%. Let's get our calculators just so you can figure that out, because that will shock it might shock you. It surely will shock your clients. If they're not owner occupied on a home of 597,000 times 3.33% equals $19,880.10. Wow. Mr. Martinez, I got to pay $19,880.10. Yes. Yes, Laura, you'll have to pull one. Escrow will automatically, because this is a lease property, escrow, not I, not you, escrow will automatically pull out $19,880.10. And if you have not paid federal and state, they will pay those fees out of this money. Now, if you owe more than that, they'll ask you for that, Laura. But if you are due more, due some of that back, they'll return it to you. But they'll have that there. Can I get that back, Laura says. And I say, yes, Laura, you can. You can get it back. You can get it back. If you've been doing your taxes on a timely basis, talk to your CPA or your accountant. They will be able to get those funds back for you. So once again, it's a business. When you're doing leases, it is conducting a business. And if you're conducting a business and you have your CPA and your accountant, talk to your CPA and accountant, and they will be able to rectify this when you do your taxes. So that's what I tell my clients, and that's what the law requires. You're not taking it out. I'm not taking it out. Escrow is taking out the 3.33% if you're non-owner occupied. And number 19 was private transfer tax. What is private transfer tax? It is a fee it's a private transfer tax. It used to be very private, but now they tell you what it is, okay? And it's utilized for the community or certain things. Lennar started them back in 1999, and they range in fees from a few $100s to a few $1,000s. So you should know if you're going to take a listing in an area or going to buy a property where they have private transfer tax. One of the questions you should ask if you represent the buyer, what are those fees and who pays for them? And if you're the listing agent, you should ask the seller or the owners, is there a private transfer tax? Yes. Do you know the amount? Yes. How much is it? And who pays for that? Is it the buyer or the seller? Or is it both? Or is it optional? Okay. And there's all kind of ways where they do it. Where I lived at one time, it was the buyer that paid in when you came in, and that was the fee. So the buyer was paying a fee, and I think it was something like 0.25% of sales price. Okay, and I think the fee ran in those times like $725, and it was utilized for the community, okay, for the landscaping, the grounds, or activities the community had. So private transfer tax, that's another fee, and it's usually on homes of 1999 and newer. And you should ask the owners if they know about it. And another way to maybe find out about this is when you're looking, if you're going to be a listing agent, I always like to look and see what other agents say, because they'll say that sometimes. This is a private transfer tax community. Private transfer tax is responsibility of sellers of $750 or buyers of $750. So they're letting you know ahead of time. So once again, also look at the MLS when you're taking a listing to get some information. All right. So now we have all of those fees. Let's run them down. I'm going to run them down for you. You can run them down on your calculator as well. I take it from the top and work my way down. So here I go. Okay. Escrow fees. And we're selling this home for $597,000. We have right now a projected gross equity of $349,000. Okay. And so here's our fees. Escrow fees of $1,444, sub escrow $75, recording $125, drawing deed $125, title insurance $1,705, transfer tax of $656.70, no prepayment penalty, reconveyance of $125, interest of $2,350. We all should have that number. No appraisal fee, zero. No inspection fee, pest fee, no FHA fee, zero. No home warranty, zero. Commissions of $29,850. No wonder you guys all driving Mercedes. Buyer's fees, zero. Miscellaneous fees of $1,000. Non-owner fees, zero, because they live there. No private transfer tax, zero, for a total of ding, ding, ding. Anybody want to give it to me? $37,655.70. Oh me, oh my. So now we know what the costs are going to be, not garbage fees, not fees, but we actually know the fees. We know how to say and articulate, enunciate and pronunciate. We know the fees. So we could take that 37,655.70 away from what? 349. And we could say to your client, our client, when we sell this home, you'll have approximately $311,344.30. $311,344.30. Are you with me? All right, there you go. Well, that's the listing class, taking the listing. So now you're telling your client, we're going to list it for $597. If we sell it at $597 and everything else projects right, you will walk away with $311. And once again, when you ask the question, what do you want to do? They said, Bertha, if you can get me around $250,000 to $300,000, I want to buy a new condominium or townhome or home in the area. Now Bertha can say to me, Mr. Martinez, we're going to get approximately $344.30. Can I take you out to look for that condo, townhome, or new home? You bet you can, Bertha. As soon as you get this one sold, I'm going to get it sold, Mr. Martinez. I'm going to get it sold. All right. Let's pull out the next sheet so we can go on with this class. And this one says opened escrow, opened escrow. All right. And the same format. You have two of them there. Okay. You're going to take out the one that's sort of blank. It says list price $597, projected sales price, because now you have an offer. All of us have an offer in front of us, and the offer didn't come in at $597. It came in at $592.5. $592.5. And there were some requirements. The debt hasn't changed. They owed $248 before. They still owe $248. So the debt hasn't changed. So let's get out our calculators and you go first part, 592.5 minus debt of 248 gives me a projected gross equity of anybody? I'll pull out my card. Let me look at it. 244.5, 244.5. You take away the 592.5 minus the debt of 248. Now we're at 344.5 projected gross equity. A little bit less than the last time. We were at 349 the last time, so we're a little bit lower by about $5,000, but that's not too bad. Okay, so let's look at our costs. So let's look at escrow. Once again, you could go into your calculator, all of us, and you can say, now we're selling it at 592.5 times 0.2% equals 1,185. That's the escrow amount. Plus what? A setup fee of 250 for a total now of $1,435. So when you're selling that sheet, escrow, $1,435. Sub escrow, do we have to change it? No. $75. Is sub escrow an escrow fee? No, it isn't. It is a title fee that is charged through escrow. Okay, next one, recording. You don't have to do anything. 125. It's for the reconveyances or attorney fees. The next one, drawing deed, 125. Now let's go to title insurance. Uh-oh, that changed. We better go looking. Look at your rate chart. We're not selling it for 597 now. We're selling it for what? 592.5. Now you can see it's only $1,698. Went a little bit lower. $1,698. Okay. That's why it's good for you to have a rate chart from your title company. Okay. Make sure they get you one, because I don't have the rates up here in my head. You don't have on yours. You're gonna, when you need to do it, I like to have a rate chart. Transfer tax. Let's look at that. We changed the whole value change, right? 19, let's figure it out. So let me get mine out. We're selling it for 590, what, 500 times what? And we go transfer tax. So we go the 592,500 divided by what? 1,000 equals 5,925. Am I correct? Times 1.1 equals 651.75. All right. We said 592,000. The formula divided by 1,000 times what? 1.1. $651.75. 651.75. Okay. Prepayment penalty. There wasn't prepayment penalty last time, so it's zero this time. Zero. Reconveyance, 125. It hasn't changed. Okay. Interest hasn't changed as well. $2,200 payment plus HOA of 150 for a total of $2,350. Okay. Preps and docs, they don't change, like cement, $200. Okay. Appraisal, we're not paying for the appraisal, zero. Okay. Pest inspection. Uh-oh, here's where things are changing. Here's the things that are changing. Let me get my paperwork. Let me see if it changes. Did I change it? Nope, nope. Pest inspection at zero. Okay, FHA, zero. Okay, but a home warranty, they ask for a home warranty. Why? Because Laura has a home, and she has a home, and she has a pool and a spa. And so the person said, I want $625. and the reason they want it. And I said to Laura, she goes, does that sound reasonable, Jose? And I go, yes. Usually they want to insure the home, they want to insure the pool and the pool equipment, because Laura has a spa. And if you don't insure the pool equipment, then all you're insuring is the pool. And I told Laura, you don't want them to come back later and say, hey, the heater is not working, the pumps are not working. Okay. And Laura says, all right, 625 sounds fair to me. Okay. Commission, let's get it. Get your calculator. They want that home warranty, so get your calculator. Let's see how much your commission is going to be. $592,500 times 5% equals $29,625. So put that down, $29,625. That's your commission. But remember, all of you are doing what? You asked the question when you sat down and said, what are you going to be doing, Mr. Martinez? And I said, I want to buy another property. And you said, if I can get you between 250 to 300,000, will you let me help you find that property? And I said, you bet. And we're writing down the numbers. We want to see what happens. All right. Now, that's the commission. Now put down there, because this is the offer. In the offer, the seller said, the buyer said, I want $5,000 towards closing costs, $5,000. So put under buyer's fees, $5,000. A fee that we didn't expect. Why? Because it came in the offer. I leave the miscellaneous of $1,000 there. Here's how I look at it. The miscellaneous is going to cover the home warranty and a little bit of the buyer's fees. So really it's going to come out to about 4,000 and change when it's all said and done. Okay. So you leave the miscellaneous there because once again, it'll subtract from the 625 and the 5,000. So you got that miscellaneous. It's going to help cover it. Leave it there. And non-owner, 0. Private transfer, 0. Let's add up all the figures. Get your calculator. I'm going to get my calculator. Okay. Okay. Number 1, escrow fees, $1,435 plus 75 plus recording of $125 plus drawing deed of $125 plus title insurance now $1,698 plus transfer tax of $651.75. No prepayment penalty, reconveyance $125, interest $23.50, preps and docs $200, appraisal 0, pest inspection 0, FHA 0, home warranty $625. Commission now is going to be $29,625. Buyer's fees $5,000. I'm sorry, my eyes are getting old. $5,000. Miscellaneous $1,000. Non-owner 0. Private transfer tax 0, for a total of $43,034.75. And when I subtract that from the $344,500, I still have a total of $301,465.25. And the owner said to all of us, if I could get between 250 and 300,000, I want to go out and buy a townhome, condo, or home in the area. And I'd like you to help me. Can we do it? You bet we can. And my numbers are very conservative. So here it goes. Listing and with this offer, we are able to meet the goals of our client. Why? Because we asked the question, what do you need to get out of this so that you can do what you need? If I can get this, I always say, what's the bottom line? That's why I said, when we took the listing, had Laura said, Jose, my bottom line is 590. 590 would have been the number I would have worked with. If we would have gotten an offer 592.5, is that more than 590? You bet it is. So we would have started off with more than what Laura had expected from the beginning. I could have said, Laura, I could list it at 597, but what's your bottom line? And Laura says, no less than 590, Jose. And then we could work from there. And we got an offer of 592.5. We're still above the expectation mark. Okay. So that's why you always ask, what is your bottom line? Now, if I can say I can list it at 597 and they say my bottom line, Jose, you said you could list it for 597. I want 597. The gauntlet has been tossed. All right. So hopefully you got the information. You have a seller's net sheet there that is blank so that you can utilize and make your own. And if you have any questions, you can always reach me. You have my email address. You have my phone number. You can always reach out to me for any questions. If you don't have any questions right now, but you come up with something later, you can always feel free to reach me at my number or my email. To all of you, I thank you. I hope you guys get a lot of listings. I hope this information helped you to understand what a net sheet does. All of us don't utilize a seller's net sheet. And I know that it's not mandatory, but once again, I always say this in my class, because I know we always have an attorney. And I'm always looking at it like an attorney is talking to us. And the attorney says to us, do you have a net sheet? And we can answer, no. I use a HUD-1, or yes, I do. And then they say, if we had a HUD-1, or yes, I do, can you explain it? And we can explain it. I think that's really where you want to be. If you have a HUD-1 and you can explain it, power to the people. If you do a seller's net sheet and you can explain it, I think you're okay. But I think that if you say the word no, the attorneys I know will then ask another question. And they'll ask, why not? I want to ask you that question right now. Okay. But you could ask yourself that question. So I leave it at that. I always know that's one of the reasons I utilize it. It's a loss mitigation tool for me. I have it in my file. I give it to my broker. I give it to my manager, and I use it also as a realtor for a loss mitigation tool. Having said that, I'll leave it at that. I see that we have Mr. Prophet in the background. So say hi to all the people. Power to the people. Power to the people. You know, be good. I always say to everybody, peace and love. Go out there and get those listings. Listing agents are the kings and queens of this industry. Go out and get those listings. I wish you guys all only the best, and peace and love. Take care, Laura.
Bye. Thank you, Jose.
All right, be good.
You too.